Good morning, Flosstube. Bam, stitching between the lines. Oh, today's October 21st, Monday morning. Bright and early Monday morning. I have errands to run and things to do. Laundry's going. I just got home last night from the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat in Amana, Iowa. Previously held in outside Minnesota. I went to it 2 years ago, the first year it occurred, and then this year when it was in Amana. I was looking forward to seeing and exploring the area, which I did, and it was very, very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. But I know you're not here to hear all about that kind of stuff. We're here to talk about the adventures, seeing as the last video I made, I talked about my getting prepared to leave. I left on Tuesday evening to go up to the airport to stay in the hotel by the airport because I had a 6 a.m. flight, and we live a good solid hour's drive. And driving in morning drive time, you just never know. You have to go travel, out to the other side of the city to get to the airport. So anyway, that's just a safer way when we have super early flights. And also it helped not making my husband drive me there, get up at 3 a.m. to also, so we can leave by 4 at the very latest. So anyway, it's just easier. They either free parking or discounted parking, so that helps compensate for the whole thing. And so that worked. So Tuesday, my husband had been away, so we met for supper. He was just getting back, and we met for supper as I was driving that direction. And so I saw him briefly, and then I left. And then, so no adventures on the flights there. I was in Madison, Wisconsin by 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. my time. So that was all smooth. And drove to a restaurant that the Lost and Floss gals, Barb and Leanne, chose because it was close to Lynn's in Madison. So I had a really enjoyable time meeting them. I just can't thank them enough. I can't thank you ladies enough for coming and taking time out of your day, because it's not, you don't live right in Madison. You drove there. Barb took some time off from work to drive there, and we had a really nice visit. We drove over to Lynn's, which was maybe a mile away. I know if you watch Pam and Steph did a little video inside Lynn's. I think they were there just a month ago, maybe in September, August, I don't know. Anyway, and it's a cross stitch store, art supply store, like art supplies. So cross stitch isn't their main focus, but they have a really nice selection and nice selection of flosses. So we spent some time there. I don't really show endless amounts of haul. I just feel like because I can, I don't know. I'm not trying to, I don't know. Anyway, I just don't really do it very often. Just if I get something unusual, have traveled somewhere unusual, or whatever, if there's a circumstance. But so anyway, I found this. I was so excited to find this. Teresa Kitten Stitcher showed hers a while back, and it's been on my Etsy favorites for a while, and thinking I would get it or encounter it at some point, and I found it. So I would like to get the Primitive Hairs fabric that they use for this. So I will probably order that from her Etsy shop now that I have this. So they had quite a collection of primitive hair. I never actively sought out the patterns. I enjoy looking at the Etsy shop and thinking about all the things I'd like to stitch. But while I was thumbing through the box, at Lynn's, a lot of things are in boxes and with the, card in the front that says who it is, and you flip through the patterns. I pulled a bunch out as I went so that I could narrow it down. I'm just not buying all the things willy-nilly because, I know I'm not going to live till I'm 300, which it's getting to be a necessity to stitch all the things. So anyway, when I found this, that was it. Everything else was done. Decisions were made. I also got I had to take in a shopping list of flosses, which I got there. So, and a cut of fabric, just because it was there and it was pretty. Then I drove to Spring Green, Wisconsin, to the Country Sampler, which Leanne and Barb also drove there. They got there before me. I did make a stop. I stopped at the Piggly Wiggly to get the things that I knew, just some things I would want to have with me for over the next few days, like some Diet Coke. And my goal at Country Sampler, besides actually seeing the store, I have shopped at the store online back before they, well, first, I don't even know if they carried cross stitch, or I don't really remember. They tended to have quilt kits that involved some embroidery, like Crabapple Hill, that style, and probably that brand. And I know I bought one of the kits that I did, I think to grandmother's to grandmother's house we go, that one that I had hanging, I hang it up here in the winter. And I have another one. I'm sure it's still in the box with the order form. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's a red work quilt. So anyway, I've shopped there online, so that was kind of cool. And of course, you hear all about it now from other Flosstubers that go there. So my goal, I had two objectives other than going there and seeing it, was to buy a quilt kit, that they had assembled the fabrics for, and to buy a cross stitch kit that they modified in some way. So I did not buy a quilt kit, partly because the style is similar to what I like to do, and I have a stash of fabrics, and I just didn't see anything that was so unique that I couldn't manage the color combinations because I could. I don't really change floss because I don't have that kind of vision, but when it comes to quilts and laying out and choosing fabric, I can do that. So like I said, I wanted to get something that they had altered. So this is the downside, is I don't have a picture. I don't have a picture to show you of Not Forgotten Farms flag folk, which is kind of too bad, because when I show you the fabric, I know you're going to have a heck of a time envisioning it. The fabric they had stitched it on was Picture This Plus Murky. I know, isn't that hard to imagine? So I thought, well, I'll go back to their website. When I was showing Kathleen of Kathleen's Trodden Trail, she's like, I just can't see that. Like, this was the first thing that super caught my eye when I walked in the door, and I don't know if the pattern, there wasn't fabric in the pattern. So I kind of wasn't really sure where to go with that. And plus, I'd only, been in the store for 10 minutes. So I walked around, shopped around, picked up, a couple other things, and went back and took the picture and or the pattern up to the counter and asked about it. And she said that it was done on Murky and that they'd had trouble getting the fabric. So she had like 1 yard, and they'd already cut out one chunk of it to make their sample. And so she cut up the rest so that I could have a piece, and then there were 2 more pieces, and maybe possibly Leanne or Barb bought one. There was a lot going on, so I didn't really keep tabs. So we'll just have to see this one come together to see how it looked. And they did convert the threads as well. So I satisfied that part of my wish list. I also got this, which I keep, like, people talk about A Way We Ride all the time, and I guess I maybe never really paid attention to the pattern. And then I saw it at Lynn's. Somebody was buying the last one, I think. So, like, oh. So when I saw it at Country Sampler, I just got it. No changes made to this pattern. As I said at Country Sampler, there's some designers they just don't need to change. So, bought that pattern. I also bought this pattern because of all the things. I like hearts, I like Christmas, I like red work, I like that sort of Scandinavian look. And while I was standing there, I opened up the pattern to see what kind of floss it took. It says nothing, not one single word about fabric or floss. So I bought some floss. I think I got like Weeks Burgundy or something. I don't know. I could still end up changing it when I pick fabric, because that's the thing. I didn't have any fabric. I didn't choose fabric. And then this one, I know this one's going to be something. This one, the shop owner was working on, and she converted it. She was doing it on the red gingham. Who does that? Weeks? she was doing it on that red gingham. Well, I have that red gingham, and I love anything Santa Claus, so I snagged this. And she did indeed convert the flosses. And I have to be like Michelle Rudy when she did her horse one. She said, I'm not giving the conversion, and that's true of this one too. It's something the shop did. They own those rights, not me. So I know it's going to be a little bit frustrating, but it's not fair. I wouldn't share a pattern and the floss is called for in any of the patterns. I would only share if I made the conversion, what the conversions were, or if, somebody asked about it or whatever, or if whatever. I don't know. You know the rules. You know how it works. So I'm just trying to find a spot that's safe to put those wonderfuls. So Michelle Rudy came up to Country Sampler as well, and she brought Kim in Canada or Kim from Canada. Excuse me. I'm not sure what her exact Flosstube name is. And then she brought Jen, Felicity Stitches. So sorry. I had a really dry throat and scratchy throat and laryngitis before I went, and it cleared up. And then you spend all that time in an airplane. And in Iowa, the air was so dry. Everybody kept commenting on how dry the air was. Possibly, I'll be editing that out. So I have a few pictures, just a couple pictures I'll put in right here. It was funny. Leanne and Barb and I tried to take a picture, take a selfie outside of Lynn's, and we had many, many, many fails. And so the best one we got was the one I just put in. So that. Then I drove. It was 3 hours down to Amana. Checked into to the inn where I was staying. And the next morning at breakfast, Carol Saltbox Stitcher was there with her sister. So the event didn't start till noon on Wednesday. So I went into town, checked out where the event center was in Amana, and then walked around and did, so a little bit of shopping and browsing and whatnot. There's a quilt store just kitty corner to the, I can't remember the name of the event place in Amana. Creek. It had Creek in the name. Anyway, it's right there off Main Street. And they had some cross stitch, which I didn't buy, but we browsed. And then I did buy one of their Art to Heart books because I was so fond of these. And I really, really bought it for this one. Can we do it? It's like up on the housetops. I thought it was really cute. And you can make the fabrics a little more primitive and less bright. Those reindeer really are cute. So anyway, I bought that. And, I just did a little shopping around town. I'll put a couple pictures in right here. Up Main Street in Amana. It's just an interesting place. I had bought and read a couple of history books about the history of the Amana colonies, so I went in with some knowledge. And then Michelle Rudy brought in somebody from the Historical Society or somebody who, works in that field in Amana to do a presentation, and he just did a fabulous job. It was so interesting. He was so animated, and it was just it was fun. He did a great job. So we really got to learn a bit about the Amana colonies and their formation and so on. so on and so on. So anyway, so I know everybody's heard all the things and about Brenda Gervais coming, and people were very wishful that they could be there, and it was enjoyable having a designer. She did a presentation one morning, and then in the afternoon she did a class, and she gave us a project. Well, she gave us a beautifully assembled box with some patterns in it and a project in it. We made these little, let's see. So it was really, this is printed on the fabric. Looks like it's stitched. It was really an exercise in stretching fabric, cutting circles, stretching fabric over circles, and involving batting and stitching together and those sorts of things. So that was very cool. That was fun. It was fun for sure. And then the project we got, let me look, I've got varying supplies in here that are just part of the, she gave us little Red House sampler, which I believe is newly releasing. And she gave us the supplies to do 2 more things. The needlework accoutrement. I'm just looking. Oh, here we go. Here's the pattern. That was just the picture of it on the floss card. And we got the tin. You could put it in. And then, hang on. Something's going haywire. Oh, it is boat. Let me look. It is the same thing. It looks different. We have 2 different fabric things, and they're to make both the small patterns that were in here. Oh, okay. Accoutrement means more than one thing. So, to make the little needle book. So that was in the box. Maybe? I haven't read the directions clearly, but that's in the box. Alright, so let me pack those goodies away. She came, set up shop. I had pretty much her things that were there, her patterns and so on. And so we shopped, and I bought the new Peppermint Pals. Do you remember the Halloween one where the little pumpkin head gal is wearing the plaid skirt or pants? So here's a snowman doing the same. These are coming to stores, I think, this week. So we only just got a teeny little, tiny little peek. And then really what sold me on this, I would have bought it anyway, so I'm just kidding. It's this fabric. The color. I love it. It is Mint Lugana by Picture This Plus. Mint. I have never stitched on that. So, there's the things. My friend Penny, who I've talked about many times, and she has a little online shop called The Daily Stitcher. And if I encounter the business card here, Penny, The Daily Stitcher, she showed on Facebook right before the retreat that she had these newly in, along with the floss. So I said, or, you know, the sulky floss. Let me make sure I'm holding it right side up. I said, could you bring me that? So she brought me that. So I still have not done the bunny one that came out last spring that came with the sulky. So I can find the sulky. I haven't worked with it, so I don't really know. Penny also, okay, so here's the thing. Along with not showing a lot of haul, I don't want to show all the gifts everybody gave me. I thanked everybody in person, so I thank everybody for the things they give me, and I don't believe anybody's giving me anything for public acknowledgement, looking for that. And I don't want people to feel like well, so why did she get a gift? I thought I was her friend, the gift giver's friend too. And so I just don't want people to feel bad like that. Although there's a lot of gift giving and people bring gifts for the couple people that have done something special for them or mean something special. And I see around the room, nobody feels like, well, they're standing with anonymous other person and I don't have a gift for them, but whatever, I'm going to go give my gifts. That's fine. People, fine, because I gave some things too. And I didn't bring one for the whole class. So so I just I don't know. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, I guess. But Penny, I'm going to talk about what Penny brought me because she and I have known each other for several years. Now, since we first met at the first Midwest retreat, and she and I both have almost identical taste in what we stitch. Almost identical. When I stitch something, she's already stitched it, or she has the pattern, or maybe she already just started it, or she showed me Santa Claus that she stitched, and I had shown how I chased down the pattern on eBay recently for a Santa Claus, and she showed me a picture taken of it hanging on her wall. She said, I couldn't believe you showed that, and here it is, I stitched it. So she knows of my love for 'Twas the Night Before Christmas and my collection of the books. And this is signed by the authors. It's a retelling, a decorative retelling of The Night Before Christmas. And so they're not claiming to be the authors. They just are the assemblers of this book. And they have taken pictures, staged a lot of things, and taken pictures to go along with the story. And it is just unbelievably beautiful. I believe these are the three men that assembled the book. It is. Their names are there. And this book is signed by two of them. One of them, I think, was it one of them? Let me flip back. No. They have somebody that's their real Santa. Penny said she met him. So cool. This will be so fun to have out on the coffee table at Christmas. The pictures are just... it's just stunning photography. So this was a decorative retelling of Clement Moore's endearing tale, is what they. So if you're trying to track this down, you might want that. I'll hold it here for half a second. I'm not sure I can pronounce any of their names. V.S. Pryor III, N.W. Runnels, yeah, and M.K. Moulton. Okay. A cat just jumped up on my desk, so I bet he's going to make an appearance. And Michelle Rudy made everybody, a project bag with some goodies in it, which was so fabulous. That's a lot of work. I mean, I can make project bags and some scissors. I love scissors. We all love scissors. And these tags, aren't these tags gorgeous? So pretty. So pretty. A couple other little, so I appreciate that. I know what it takes to make, and here she made 75 of them. Impressive. Let's see. Free table was good to me. I have been, every time I go to the store, my L&S, or I see it on Stash and Load, because maybe it's gone at my L&S. My L&S my owner knew Marilyn Levitt emblem, and has samples and samples on her walls that belonged in the family, and the patterns. So she quite often she doesn't have everything. I can't get everything from her, but I covet this pattern because I love the beading, and it just reminds me of a quilt. I don't know, but I don't really I don't want to stitch an angel. So the wings and the halo maybe will come off. I'm not really sure. Her head might look like disproportionately small. I don't know. So anyway, it was free. It gives me something to think about and try. And then I got these two. I keep thinking I'd like to do one of these girls. Neither of these colorways exactly excites me, but I know there's lots of conversions. And you never know when you stitch it up. Sometimes it's pretty. It's more pretty. It's prettier than you think. And this one was on the table. I don't know this designer. Lone Elm Lane. It appears to be patterns that'll fit on the top of like the shaker boxes. This one I believe is called Snow Angel. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, isn't that cute? And then I saw the Snow Angel. That is so stinking cute. I just love it. Look, it's like there's quilt squares in the tree. Again, not all into the angel, so I'm not really sure if I would do that part or if I would just do this part. Just so I can stitch that. So cute. So those are the things. Those are the things until the exchange. So I am going to insert right here a video about the exchange piece I made because I forgot to photograph it. Right here. Hi everyone. Pam, Stitching Between the Lines. This is actually meant to be an insert in my next video because I forgot to do this, and I pretty much nothing like wait until the last minute. I am in my room at the Heimat Country Inn in Homestead, Iowa, which is part of the Amana colonies. I'm here for the retreat. I'm sure by now I have mentioned it prior. I maybe will have talked to it before I do this insert. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I forgot to do any kind of pictures of my smalls exchange. Actually, it's just exchange. It didn't even have to be small. The requirement was that it be something by Brenda Gervais, seeing as she's the guest designer at this retreat. So I even I brought all the supplies to package it up, and I packaged it up this morning and still forgot. So anyway, let me pull it out. Fortunately, no tape is involved. I looked around and took a little while to figure out what I was going to make. Seeing as I'm flying, I can't really transport anything big and complicated, and in hopes of not receiving anything big and complicated, I need to have a kind of small thing to take back home. So anyway, I found on Stash Unload somebody was selling Ode to the Ort. I had the box somewhere. I'm not sure what I did with it. That had the picture on it. But anyway, I purchased that. It came with just the box and the pattern, none of the threads, but I didn't need those. So that's what I stitched. And I stitched it over one. I think it's a 32 count. It's a 32 count random piece of fabric on the box. So there it is. I finished it myself. It was relatively simple. I had a piece of antique lace. I have a few packages of antique lace. I bought it in Antique Mall a few years ago, and it fit this style, and it fit I'm not sure what's happening there, except that I think the piece of lace is just, it's antique. I think it's missing the one little loop in the stitch. So anyway, yeah, we want to see it like this. That's what I stitched with the bluebird, and then let's see if I can open it. I put a sticker inside. Let me get the, so, you know, that would be in there, and then filled it with some goodies. That's the extent of my smalls. I think, I'm not sure, I haven't been to an exchange yet where there's been like lots of extras in the package, but this came with the little Ort box, so that's an extra, right? So anyway, there's my smalls for the exchange. I should just call it my exchange because it really doesn't have to be a small. All packaged up, and nobody's going to see this prior to the event that starts today. So it's not like seeing the package, they'll know it's from me. I'll have to take it in a bag so that nobody sees. That's the thing. Sometimes people do that. They watch to see who brings in what. So anyway, so there we go. Thursday morning. My watch says it's 32 degrees, up to 32. It was 31 when I looked a little bit ago. Colder than I think it is in New York. The cars have frost. My rental car, I probably have explained this all already, flew into Madison, Wisconsin yesterday and met with the Lost and Floss gals. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't thank you enough. That made my day so much more enjoyable to have the company of those two lovely ladies who I met at StitchCon last summer. Not that many months ago, really. And we had a late breakfast, did a restaurant, and then we went to Lynn's, which I will have maybe talked about, shown my stash haul, that haul that became stash, and then drove to Spring Green to the Country Sampler and spent a couple hours there visiting with the shop and shopping. And then Michelle Farm Girl came and brought a couple ladies, Kim from Kim in Canada, Kim from Canada, and Jen, whose Flosstube name I need to have remembered and let you know, because now I forgot. She's from Cleveland. Probably lots of people know her. She was at StitchCon the summer 2018. I don't believe she was there this last year. But anyway, jobs, kids, family obligations. We understand we can't all be everywhere. So anyway, just wanted to show you that, and we'll catch up later. Bye. So watching that, you can see what I made. I made the Ode to the Ort by Brenda Gervais. It was a market exclusive, and funny and interestingly enough, was thinking to myself, I'm looking at all her patterns and the patterns I have, and I bought a couple new patterns, and I was trying to think about what element I might pull out and make into something, and I needed it to be small, like I know I explained in my video. And I thought, when I saw that on Stash Unload, I got just the box and the pattern. I thought that's cute, and maybe everybody won't have seen it because it was a market exclusive. Well, there were 2 other ones, so there were 3 in total exchange pieces that were the Ode to the Ort. So my number got called relatively early, and I stole. It was a stealing thing. You can steal, and once a person's been stolen from and they get to go again, either steal or take a gift off the table, then they can't be stolen from. So that's the end. So I stole from somebody who got Steph Schaffner's of Pam and Steph's Brenda Gervais wordplay December pillow, which was just beautiful. It doesn't look anything like my December wordplay. I know stuff changed colors and stuff, and it was so beautifully finished. So I stole it. Well, of course, it got stolen from me. So I got to go back up again, and this time I thought, that there's lots of gift bags up on the table and so on, and some people are opening kind of biggish things, and I thought I'm never going to get big things home, so I really have to find a small package up there. Well, hidden all back in behind all the big bags was this box, and I love these boxes. Like, you can get them at Joann's and Michael's, and they have a little magnetic closure, and they work really cute to keep a project in or little stitching something. And I got this, and I went and opened it up, and oh my gosh, I'm telling you, and I couldn't be stolen from. This was made by, oh man, oh no, oh no, oh no. There's going to be video stoppage so I can fix this. I have piled and pushed and moved. This is going to be edited. Oh, okay. Phew. It was made by Pam Horner, who lives in Davenport, Iowa. So she's an Iowan. She made this, honestly. This is so beautiful. I don't know what pattern it's from. I don't know if it's a standalone pattern or if it's an element out of a pattern. But she said she found the little cloche at a gift store, and she painted it so it would lend itself to this. And then I'm telling you, I just feel like I struck gold. I was so excited. So picture here of her and I. So you can see that. And then somebody named Carol Hogan from St. Louis, Missouri, got mine. Picture here. And she seemed delighted, and her friend kept saying, as soon as I saw that, I knew that was so her. That was just her. That was just right for her. So that was cool. You know, you never know if you'll get something to your taste. I think having it be that it would be Brenda Gervais certainly lended itself to many of our tastes, so that it's hard to go wrong. If you like her stuff, you're going to like her stuff. So you're going to like what somebody makes out of her stuff. So that worked really well. So then let's talk about the projects I took. I forgot to bring in here a finish I was going to show you, but we'll just save that for the next video because I honestly can't even remember what I was working on before I went, so that I could show you whip progress or anything. So, and this will be long enough as it is. I took 3 projects, and that's all to work on. One of them was a Mill Hill. I showed before that I had started this, and then when I put together my Mania whips and new starts, I completely forgot about this and didn't include it in there. It really should have been. So I pulled that out, and the only thing I had done was a little tiny bit of the blue. This is, you stitch the sweater and you stitch the yoke separately, and then you put the yoke over, so it just gives it some dimension. So I had done some of the blue. I had started this in Florida last winter, and I had goofed on the blue, and I'd had to take out blue, and I had just some of the dark blue going. The hotel, the first night in the hotel at the airport, I worked on this some more. And in the course of the first day and a little teeny tiny bit of the next day, I finished all the thread work. The rest is beading. So that was, to me, a nice small accomplishment. I didn't want to get the beads out. The next day, when I could have kept going and done the beading, was the day that Brenda Gervais was doing her lecture and then her class, and I just didn't want to have to worry about the beads. I didn't have a sticky bob with me. So that was that. And then the second day, I got out my Prairie Schooler. And this was a recent start, July. And the only thing I had done was the compass. So in that course of that day, I did all this work. Just mostly it's the border, but because I had done the compass, then I outlined the roof, so I knew exactly where it was, and now I'm working around the border. So that is got some stitches I need to do. I thought I did already. I did. I don't know where that thread just came from that I just threw away, because I did serge the edges. So nothing should be fraying. So, well, I don't know. Brenda gave us what she said was she gave us this pattern. I believe this is going to be released. This was for sale in her shop. Souvenirs of the Heart, Autumn in Amana. I don't think this was exclusive, but I might be wrong. So if I showed it and you can't get it, I'm sorry to be a tease about that. Was not my intention. And then on Saturday, my project, what a disaster. My project was just another Mania. You know how these things go. We've talked about it lots of times, even if you haven't been to a retreat. Lots of distractions, lots of things going on. So this was a Mania start. And I started and I did the border in a day. And I goofed in the very, very initial corner. I did one stitch too many somewhere. So the border got a little tiny bit bigger than you would hope. And then I had started the bottom of this on that day in Mania, and I had not ever worked on it since then. I'm not really sure if I adjusted the placement of the stand. I don't think it's really going to matter, because then I worked away on it Saturday and worked away and was putting all the cherries in and the leaves and all the things, and discovered I had left out an entire section, and this was first thing in the morning. This entire section is left out. So I'm not taking it out, because that would involve taking out everything down to somewhere in here. I'm not doing it. Nope. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Going to be how it's going to be, and that's that. So that's all for stitching, except for whatever I worked on before I left. And my piles are empty for the most part. Just, the bags are over here. So it was good. It was a good time. I had a nice time. I like to sit and meet. I met some new people. I saw some people. I gathered with my friends, stitched with my friends, went out to eat. It was fun to check out the German restaurants. The first night we had to go for our own dinner, which was fine. And then it was catered, but we really wanted to go out and check out the German restaurants in town. So we did go out the last night, a group of 8 of us, and food's good, environment was good, things weren't crowded this time of year, so that was nice. So it was nice. I flew home yesterday, Sunday. It was long. Those full days of travel. When I had to go. I went all the way to Atlanta to then turn around and come all the way to New York. Little flights from little airports are not always as easy to manage as you think, and I didn't want to have to leave on a 6 a.m. flight or whatever. So that's what happened. I got home and my girls were here and we had supper and then they scattered, and so it was all good. So that was nice. So if that's all you want to know about the stitching, the sewing, the gathering, the shopping, the retreat, we're good. I posted, if anybody follows me on Instagram, I posted some pictures before I went, on the Monday before I went, which was Columbus Day. I seem to have more than my share of wildlife encounters. This one wasn't exactly wild. It was about 8:15 in the morning on Monday morning. It was very gray, rainy-ish day, and I was in my bedroom making my bed, and the cat, Cooper, the crazy one, I hear crashing in the house, and he is running as fast as he can, like lightning, skidding feet on the floor to get down to the basement. And I thought, what did he see? What did he see? Because that's kind of a sign that he has seen something outside. But when he goes after Murphy in that sort of same fashion, there's usually a lot of howling and carrying on, and I didn't hear anything in the basement. So first I walked along through the back of the house and looked out the windows and looked out. And sometimes especially on a gray day, it takes a while to figure out what did he see, what's out there. And I didn't see anything. So then I thought I better go downstairs and check and make sure he's not having Murphy for breakfast. So I go down there and he is behind the couch. He's looking at me and his eyes are as big as saucers. So I thought, oh dear, something happened. So I come back up and I'm kind of looking around for what went crashing. I never found anything, but so I'm in the front of the house and I look out the window. There's a cow in my front yard. Cow in my front yard. So I went outside the garage. I was in my bare feet and I took a picture. So I'll put the picture here. Now, I zoomed in. That is not anywhere near as close to my house as it looks. Our driveway's long and that's down at the end of the driveway. And the cow, you have to look. She's got her head in the bush. she's straight on. So I'll just use the back end of her, black and white, 2 legs. That's about all you see, straight on. Next picture. Here's after she crossed the road. And so you can really see her. So I came inside to get my shoes and socks on. We have a Mennonite dairy farm down the road. About half a mile, and I thought, well, if she was hiding from her owner, she couldn't be doing a better job. So I was listening to hear, did I hear a tractor? They don't drive, but if they have to go somewhere fast or whatever, they might take their tractor instead of hitching up the horse. So I'm listening, so I can hurry out there to wave somebody down if they're actually out there looking for cows that got out. So I got my shoes and socks on. I go back out, and she's crossed the road, which is the second picture I just showed you. And she's standing there. She's eating the grass, and I think to myself, she is way fatter than those dairy cows. There's no way she's one of those dairy cows. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Thinking on it. What'd you do? What would you do? I don't know. So thinking about it, I'm like, I don't even know who you call. 911? I don't know. I, I don't know. So I'm thinking I'll go drive down to the Mennonite farm, see if they're out like looking for cows. And that's when I kind of am like, I'm driving sort of down the driveway and I'm like, she's a lot fatter than those dairy cows. So it occurs to me now, we live on 5 acres, so it's a lot. There's a lot of space. Every house has to have at least 5 acres. And so we can't see the pasture next door. And on past it, on the next house down has horses that are in that pasture. So it's the mother lives in the little house next door, and the daughter that owns the horses and the horse barn and all that is one more over. And the mother has 2 cows, and she says they're pet cows. And my husband says, "Who the hell has pet cows?" I said they were probably like 4-H projects or something. So, and you don't say to your grandkids, "Yeah, let's butcher that pet that you raised so you could show it 4-H." So I'm like, I think that's one of those cows. Still, nobody's out looking for it. So I drive down and I drive in the driveway of the barn, the horse barn, and I can see there's a light on in there, and I thought I'll go find somebody in the horse barn. So I go in and I know they have a hired man that comes and helps do the barn work in the morning. So I go in and I say, "There's a cow in my front yard." He says, "Is it a Holstein?" I said, "I took a picture." I showed him the picture. "Oh yeah, that's her." He says, there must be a broken part in the fence." I'm like, or she just got feisty because, ironically, this is not the first time I've delivered a cow home. This was years ago. I was driving like on a Sunday afternoon. I was going to Walmart or something, and there was a cow in the road in front of this big dairy farm, Mennonite dairy farm, and the cow's in the road, and all the cars are like stopping and going around. I thought, well, I'm just gonna leave her there. So I pulled over and I got out and I was walking up the driveway. Because I was walking behind her, and she turned up the driveway and I turned up the driveway, and then she started making a lot of noise because I don't think she liked me behind her. I was a ways back. She wasn't gonna kick me or anything. I was going to knock on the door, and the farmer heard her, and I said she was out in the road, and he said, "Oh, she must have jumped the fence." So I know they can jump a fence. So maybe the electric fence was off next door. So I went back in my car, and I parked by her by the side of the road with my flashers on in case anything came along that would scare her or whatever. Maybe they would slow down. So he came with a rope and oats and let her off. So I come back home. She had been everywhere in my yard, like everywhere. She had been everywhere. There's hoof prints everywhere. Up close to the house in the flower garden, over at the side of the house around the lilac bush, and there's huge cow pies, and there's chunks of lawn missing, and there's huge prints, hoof prints. Here's the thing. I mean, Cooper, I swear to God, I can't even imagine. She must have come around the corner of the house and was so close to the house. He must have thought the zombie apocalypse had come. I swear to God. He jumped all day over everything. And the next morning, he went into my daughter's bedroom that faces the front, and he was sort of peeking up over the window ledge. So that's obviously where he was. So anyway, this cow, though, went by the bird feeder, which is outside my bedroom window. I mean, there's paw prints, there's chunks of grass missing, the whole thing. You can tell, hoof prints. You can tell. I like to lay in bed and read in the morning. We live in the middle of nowhere. I don't put the blinds down. Obviously, I didn't see her. Or she did it when I was like not facing the window. I would have thought the zombie apocalypse had come if she had walked by that window. Oh my God. So that was my wildlife encounter of the day. I swear to God. I just hope she hasn't thought like, well, I like it better over there. You should have seen the eats and how far I got to roam. I swear to God. I said to my husband, "Would you have known what to do?" He goes, "No." husband had no clue. I said, I know when the cow was standing at the end of the driveway, across the street from the end of the driveway, and I pulled up next to her, I thought, I don't know how I know these things. I have no idea. I have no farm experience, trust me. I thought, I really could probably just take her home. Like when I was going out the driveway to go find somebody. Because a cow that's used to being in a part of a herd, I don't know. Trust me, I don't know anything. You should be able to grab their tail and sort of like drive them around like they'll, like you should be able to. But I wasn't afraid to do that. I just thought to myself, I'm leaving on a retreat tomorrow. I can't have a horse or a cow kick me the day before I leave. So anyway, adventures in country living. And I don't even know what to say. So I've now rescued 2 cows in some manner. Maybe they would have wandered home, I don't know. And a horse. We rescued from the same barn, but a different owner. A big fancy horse too, running down the street, having the time of his life. We went out there and led it home with some hay and lured it into the barn. But that's a story for another day because it didn't go as quick and easy as that. So anyway, it's Monday, October 21st. I need to go do some errands. I need to go get my flu shot. And tomorrow I'm leaving for another few days. I have some things to do. There's some business to take care of. And then I'm home again, and then I'm going on a quilt retreat thing where I actually get to come home every night and sleep in my own bed. So, no dull moments. We don't need any dull moments, but we really don't need any more cows in our yard, honestly. I don't know. It's always something, isn't it? So anyway, let me think if I have anything else that I'm going to... If I have any other pictures I neglected to put in, I'll put them right here because, what the heck. I'll see you. Bye.